Poster. See that? It's a kind of a funny name. Ailinglaplap.
You were there?
No, that reminds me of O'Connell Point.
What were you doing there?
I went there as a party to accept the surrender.
Oh.
We took down their flag and raised our flag. So I thought it was closure for me. I got even with them. Anyway, I went over to the VA and talked to a guy named Denver Mills. Maybe and I told him about that. He said there is no such a place. He called me a liar right there in the aisle of the Veterans Administration. That there's no such place.
Now, Chuck, the part I remember about this story is, were you guys heavily armed when you went in for this surrender? Oh, sorry. Oh, thank you. Chuck, when you went in to get the Japanese surrender, were you guys heavily armed?
We were battle dressed, in battle dress. We had our guns. No ammunition in the magazines, no ammunition in the chamber. We had them on our belts, but they wouldn't let us have anything in the gun itself. And I've often thought, you know, as drastic as those guys were, once we all marched upon there and lined up, they could have had machine guns, except I don't think they had much ammunition or anything left because we had cut off their line of supply. They couldn't get anything in there anymore except by submarine at night. And then I think the only reason we went there and accepted their surrender is so that the U.S. could then go in and provide them with food and stuff to keep them from starving to death, because they had no other way to get anything in there. And their airport was so full of bomb craters, their hangars were just shambles, you know, there were pieces of the framework left, and that was all parts of airplanes laying around. Every time that one of our guys went out on a mission, if they didn't find the target they were after, they would swing over Ailinglaplap and drop the bomb before they come back and landed at Majuro, because you don't want to land with a live bomb. You know, it might blow up on you. So they got visited every once in a while. And I often wonder, we could stand at the western end of our runway on Majuro Atoll. If the situation was right, we could see the palm trees on an adjacent island. And there was what they called the east chain and the west chain of the Marshall Island. And we were in what would have been the eastern chain. They were in the western chain. And once in a while we could see those palm trees over there. One time a Army B-25 came in and landed. They were on their way back to Hawaii. And the pilot, I guess, I don't know what he was doing, but he taxied the wingtip into a palm tree. And so he went to our guy and asked, and he said, well, we don't have any parts for that Army B-25. We had B-25, but it was a different model. But he said, I've got one guy here that can maybe fix it for you. So I sat for the better part of 2 days out under a palm tree in the wing of that airplane with sandbags and leather mallets, making a wingtip for that airplane.
Right.
And it's not very easy because you have to shape it like this, and then it has to go around in a circle. So anyway, I finally got it to where it would fit, and boy, those guys were real grateful. So they said, go along with us, we'll test it. So I got in the tail gun blister of that B-25, and we took off from Majuro there and went out, and they stayed right down on the water until they got to that adjacent island. Then they flipped it up like that and went over and when they went up, because it pushed me down the seat, but when he flipped over, my head hit the top of that turret, and I thought it was going to knock me out of my, maybe that's why I'm as nutty as I am. But anyway, it was a great experience. But as we went over the other side and dropped down, of course, those people bathed nude down there and stuff out on the beach, so I think that's what they were wanting for, to get some anyway.
See some native girls?
But we were going so fast, we were gone in no time at all. But that's why I have that with that Ailinglaplap on it.
Yeah. Thanks, Chuck, for sure. Yeah. Oh, man. So you could tell the school kids.